start chatting about what just happened. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Frostside Chat, our weekly live stream post-session discussion where we talk about what just happened during D&D. This is the chat for session 79. So if you've not seen that session yet, please go do that because there will be some spoilers here. I'm your DM, Eric, and joining me we have All Robin's player, Chris.
Hello.
And Edmund's player, Raymond.
Hello.
We did the second half of the Chain Lightning game first.
Yeah.
Which now that we kind of talked about it a little bit in the other Frostside chat. I don't know how much to repeat that, but I don't have either your thoughts changed or
we got like some not clarifications, but we got some further like adjudication of the rules.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. What we didn't quite hit on, and I'm curious to know from you, if somebody just blatantly, I mean, we kind of got this. Like, if you blatantly just break the rules, you get blasted by the towers.
Yeah.
It looked like. But could we have like conceivably just won that way? Like, just all started casting like magic lightning spells to eliminate the Magen and getting blasted by the towers, but still eliminate the enemy? Would that be a viable thing to do? At one point, Frey was about to do something that I was like, I was curious about, her javelin of lightning.
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder if that's going to count. Like, if that's going to be like, okay, she gets blasted by the towers, but she still eliminates the enemies. So it's like, she's fouling, but she still gets the point.
It was tricky. It's one of those things where I kind of would have adjudicated during the session. I didn't have a hard and fast rule about that. Like, what if they produce their own? Because my thing was, well, if they produce their own lightning, they're not going to get fouled for it. But if they do that, does their effect still go off, and do they still get to do their thing?
Right.
Versus being punished for it. So I probably would have played it with a case by case basis. And like if I really enjoyed it, I'd be like, all right, that does work, but you also get fouled for it. The idea was the first time you get fouled, it shoots magic missiles at you, which deals damage, but then isn't technically eliminating you from the game. It's like a yellow card, like a warning.
Oh.
And the second time, if you foul, which is what she was going to do, it sounded like, then it starts just shooting straight up lightning at you, and in trying to eliminate you, essentially.
I see.
So you can just be eliminated by fouling. But what I hadn't decided yet is...
That would have been interesting. That kind of answers the question. Is like
yeah, everybody gets one like warning call, which is the magic missiles, and then the other one, it starts shooting straight up lightning bolts at you.
Okay, yeah.
But I wrote that you get to make a save against the lightning bolt, because that's how D&D works. And then I think I would have it be like every round it then tries to eliminate you or something.
Gotcha.
So you could just be like that, like kind of rebellious and run around and do it.
Right. Get hit.
One thing I guess I didn't touch on, and I mentioned this during the stream, was I didn't actually upscale the... Well, first of all, this is all... None of this... I mentioned this before, but none of this is in the book. This is all me making this up.
Yeah, you making that up.
But I used the Galvin Magen stat block as the base stat block, and then I gave them... what was there? I think they had a +6 to hit, which felt good, and yet, God, I couldn't fucking roll worth shit, to where they literally self-eliminated themselves. I know, it was a bummer.
Rolls.
It was a bummer. I mean, you guys have pretty good AC, but with a +6, like, come on, it was so...
You were rolling a bunch of, like, 6 and 7s and 8s. And
it was so deflating. I mean,
we weren't rolling below a 12 ever, so it was, yeah.
I'm looking up their stat block. So they had a +6 to hit with the wands. They had a +4 on their athletics to grab the things, which it was a DC 15. So they had a, 45% chance or something to grab it each time. And I think I did worse than that.
Yeah, I think so. Probably like 25%.
I think I only got it. I think I remember 2 times they were able to shoot their wands. So 2 times they were able to grab it. And both times they shot, they literally did so bad that they shot themselves.
Yep.
Which really was pain. One of them had advantage too. And they both shot themselves. And one of them eliminated themselves. The other one just eliminated one of their own mirror images. Which I did decide not to give them all mirror images because that would have been just really tedious. And I tried to space out like what all they were doing and things. But yeah, you guys made it. Just, I think the mechanics were a little solid. I probably need to work out a few more kinks, but it was just, I probably should have either beefed them up somehow or maybe tried to use slightly different stat blocks, which was my idea. Like maybe I've got some athletic ones.
Was really good. Like let only.
Or I just got bad luck with the dice. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's also true. But I think your first idea that you were talking about during the stream was a really good idea. Like, let 3 of them be just like not casting spells, just beefy, can do the athletic stuff.
They have better stats, but they don't have the ability to cast like blindness spells. And hold person in mirror image. Yeah.
The other 3 be the ones that are good at using the wands, but also the ones that can do the spell stuff.
Yeah.
I think that'd be but make them better at each thing.
It would have been interesting. It would have been more bookkeeping on my end, and I already had a little bit extra because I had all these rules to keep track of and the trident. So it would have been
That's true, yeah.
Interesting to see how well I would have been able to keep up with that. But yeah, that was. I thought it went fine. It hopefully didn't last too long, although it did take 2 sessions. That's kind of weird how you determine how long something lasted. But
I think it was just cleaning up today. It didn't take too long.
It kind of felt that way. I guess, yeah, I'm reiterating the fact that I wish it felt more competitive. I was impressed 2 of y'all got eliminated, but one of them just because I think she was fouling enough times, or how that worked. Chris got frozen again. That is not as good of a frozen image for Chris. I do not have a 2-person camera one at all, so our camera is going to be messed up in a second.
I might have missed it, but did we win something for the game?
Yeah, you won the trophy. The trophy is worth a shit ton of money, and I will go ahead and tease that it might be used for something else.
Oh, interesting.
So,
and if we had lost, then we just get nothing.
If you hey, just put in the chat. If you lose, you can still try to get the trophy, but you would literally just fight the mage and Ford is what I had it written down. Like, they would be celebrating with the trophy, and then I'm sure Frey or somebody would be like, I would just go fight them for it. Like, and then it just becomes a combat fight when you could totally do that, and then all bets are on the field. And then that is when it technically matters how much damage that you've been dealing to them, because I was keeping track of that on their sheets, the fact that they did take some of that lightning damage.
Yeah, in that case, it would have been important to scale them up.
Yeah, true. But ultimately, I didn't. I just used the regular stat block, which is from the book. Actually, those different kinds of magens are already developed in the book, and yeah, I didn't mess with it at all. I just gave them the wands basically as part of their stat block.
Yeah, it was just poor rolls.
Yeah, that was a bummer. I would have at least been fun to have a few, because all they have to do is hit it with the wand. So like 2 times that opportunities, and both times just failed miserably. So that felt bad for me. It would have been a little bit more competitive. But you guys honestly played it amazingly well with using everybody's stats and just rolling crazy good and dominating.
And like an actual team,
It was, even though you didn't necessarily know how the rules went.
Right.
And then we had a few scenes in the city itself. We had the welcome back.
Thank you.
We had a bit of a far realm incursion happen, which it was me basically doing the Hunger of Hadar spell, but scaled way up, so bigger radius, bigger damage, all that stuff. Although I still rolled really bad for damage again, oddly enough.
It was like 8 damage or something. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, and it's funny, as I wrote down, like, okay, this could be interesting if it's pretty big and the players have to get a way out of it, but then as you guys explained, like, we all have ways of traveling, like, really quickly, really effectively.
In one round, we could all go, like, 80 feet. And
which
it's
is
like, oh, okay.
Really a unique trait of this party, I guess. You guys have, like, insane movement abilities across the board, which is very impressive.
Yeah, or just, I guess so. Things we can do.
Without even really using magic, either.
Right.
Then we went to we got some more progress done this session. Actually, we went to multiple places. We went to the college, I guess, the school, House of the Arcane.
Right.
Which is just one of those fun, like, hey, there's a magical thing you can mess with, and you guys don't quite know what it is. You kind of have to almost just use like the scientific method and a little bit of ballsiness to go for it.
I did get the sense about halfway through it that we were putting more thought into it than you wanted us to. I was like, all right, well, he just wants us to like get on.
Oh, you're trying to figure out if it's a puzzle or not? Yeah.
Yeah. We were.
I want you guys to explore the space, but what you don't want to do is necessarily have the players go down these long rabbit holes without any payoffs. So you kind of have to course correct a little bit from there.
So like you guys spending a lot of time on the windows. Let's just move on to the goblins.
But the windows, they have a little bit of functionality because you can roll, and then I guess you can see what their roll is going to be.
You can tell what you're going to be.
Yeah, I was just using that same roll system.
We're just not used to.
Excuse you.
We're not used to eating and drinking things in this game and getting good benefits.
Isn't that funny?
That's true. Yeah.
All about it.
Back-to-back areas happen to have really good buffs.
Or like if one person gets it, it's like no way he'll let us do it for everybody else.
Right? Yes.
You remember? Do you remember we had that fountain in Tomb of Annihilation?
PTSD from that fountain.
and like the first you made your NPC drink from it, and he's like, "Oh, I feel great. This like healed me up." And then somebody else drinks from it. It's like acid burning down their body. Yeah. That was a great environmental thing because it literally had like a table of good and bad things that could happen.
Right.
And both of these though were all good things. Like the charms were just like, hey, whatever, like it just depends on what cantrip you get. And then the feast that is the hero's feast spell, which we've never seen in our games, I think.
Oh,
but there is a spell, I forget what level it is, that just conjures a feast. It says you have to eat it for an hour, but you guys were both eating it, and then you started interacting with other things. Like, well, I'm gonna go give you the benefit now, or else I'm gonna forget about it, and it's just gonna be weird to give you it like after the fact. So, just gave it to you. But yeah, both good food things. And then the rest of the tower. To be fair, it's kind of an awkward puzzle. This is obviously another tower from the expanded Towers of Magic. I did like that this one was mostly puzzle and environment based and not combat based. Yeah. Although, tease for next time, possibly. Instead, it just has a bunch of things you can interact with, and then a very odd puzzle to which you don't know that the familiar is part of the puzzle. So the thing that this puzzle is supposed to be, which admittedly it's kind of wonky, is it changes its shape every minute or so, and then the gateway, the dimension door to the other tower level, becomes active every minute or so, I believe. And the challenge of the puzzle is that the person who's pushing the buttons doesn't know which buttons they actually are supposed to push, because it's supposed to be a random sequence every time. So whenever the familiar is just randomly changing forms. I'm literally just rolling the table in public view. I'm just randomly rolling the forms. And then Edmund just happens to be pushing those buttons, and when he pushes the button, it's also randomly changing the familiar's form. So the puzzle is supposed to be that the person pushing the buttons doesn't ever know the sequence, but everybody in the other room would immediately know what next one you have to press, because they're seeing the familiar change the form. So the solution is you have to be able to communicate with that person, even though the dimension door spell. Yes. Yep. That's what the puzzle is supposed to work.
So what is the solution to that then? I'm not sure what we would have done in that, to do it correctly.
If only one of your party members had telepathy. I think 3 of your party members, at least 2 of them, can communicate telepathically. But I'm sure there are other ways you could have come up with that I don't even think of, but any methods of any kind of communication or something like that.
I guess I was also assuming that it was either not a different dimension, but some distance away, like that kind of more normal telepathy type stuff wouldn't work, because it's I don't know, the way I was imagining the door, I was imagining it's a portal to some other place.
Okay.
I don't know, mechanically, was it supposed to be just the second level?
Yeah.
Just a floor up? Okay.
Yeah. So the idea is, all the towers are themed with their magic. So obviously conjuration, they use dimension door to get around. And the solution to the door outside, which was, it locks whenever you get within 5 feet of it. It literally unlocks when you step back from it. The solution is to use something like Mage Hand to operate it from afar, and then it is not locked anymore. But it says if you do anything else other than that, then the other trap goes off.
I missed that part. I had to walk away, but yeah, how'd you get in?
It was a door that locked whenever you approached it.
Yeah.
And then they had Robin cast a spell magic to turn it off, but then that triggered the trap that summoned a. Oh, we never had you roll for that, didn't we? We forgot about that.
Oh, right.
You were supposed to roll a dex save.
A bonfire.
Yeah, a bonfire appeared on the ground. Forgot what was. And
then the door opened after that.
That was the door to get in the tower.
Yeah.
And then after that, you guys.
You dispelled it in the bonfire, then it was opened.
Yes, yeah. So he dispelled the magic, which locked the door, so he was in. But because you used a different method, that still activated the trap.
Wasn't that bad if you compare it to the giant fucking construct that was walking around outside.
Yeah, were you there for that, Edmund? I don't remember.
You would have to roll.
Were you there for the construct, Edmund? Raymond?
the one walking around?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just walked around, right?
Yeah. I had a cutscene basically where he killed a bunch of Nothics running around.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't do anything about the bonfire though.
Yeah,
I think we're just thinking getting into the tower and taking a little bit of fire damage to get in.
Yeah,
is better than having to fight that construct who was coming our direction.
Yeah.
So it was fine.
Yep, and then inside there was the Hero's Feast, which was just, you guys can chow down or not, and you get the benefits. There's that magic item or that weird chest thing you can get, which produces things. I feel like that's It's a neat idea. It would be really fun as like a low level thing to give people. It's like, oh, I can make all these interesting things. But at high level, it's like, I mean, it's cool, but it's, I mean, it doesn't require too many things. So
we got other ways of solving problems.
Yeah, it's an exploration thing, but yeah, it feels like at higher levels, it kind of falls off quite a bit. But I thought it was still thematically. I didn't change it from what was in the Expanded Towers of Magic because it felt very thematic to the Tower of Conjuration. So
yeah.
There weren't any notes about how
is it just an item that we're like not expected to take with us? Because I was reading, I was like, okay, it's like a full on box that like.
I mean, you can. We never care about encumbrance or anything like that. Like, true. I know it feels fakey to be like, well, where do I put this chest? But like, I don't care.
I mean, a lot of times you can just sort of like hand wave it. It's like, okay, I got it strapped to my back or whatever. But like, this is like a box.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
a big
I'm carrying
box.
around this chest. Yeah, but I mean, in any RPG, like, hey, if I've got encumbrance in space, I'm putting it somewhere.
Yeah.
Shoving it in my ass, but I've got it. I didn't expect you guys to focus so hard on the familiar, and I thought it was funny. And when Frey was like, I pick it up and throw it into the, I was like, fuck. Nope, it resets. Like,
that's a good solution. Just like,
because I can't have you break the puzzle this way.
Yeah.
So it just resets. It's literally just supposed to be a puzzle. It's supposed to be a thematic puzzle thing, because again, a conjuration, familiar, and all that.
Right.
But it almost adds more complications in terms of the players when they interact with it.
Right. I assumed it'd be a sentient creature we could talk to.
Yeah.
And like, I thought maybe that like the story was like that it was a familiar of whoever owned this tower, and that the owner died a long time ago. So it was just an unowned familiar.
So all reasonable guesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead, the thing you can talk to is a
fucking insect man, and I assume a demon because you described it as like being circled by a bunch of runes. I was like, that's a demon thing.
That's a demon thing. Yeah, and this is one of those funny things where it's just like, I left this completely open-ended on terms of how the roleplay goes, how like friendly or hostility it goes. Like, it's I don't know who's going to be in there to talk to it first. Like,
right,
everything's up in the air. So I had very few notes on this.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying to dispel the runes, but Emma can't do anything like that.
Right. It doesn't have the.
It doesn't know that. It just sees you as a competent spellcaster.
I'm just telling you now.
Okay, yeah.
That's why I was trying to get the wolf to bring Valravn in, because I think Valravn can dispel magic, but no, Frey had to stop
it. Yeah, they're like, wait, we're not done with this. I
didn't know you were gonna accidentally break the puzzle, so I didn't want to go in the room and have the floor drop down. And Valravn can't fly. He would actually fall into the tentacle.
Yeah, so you literally just randomly, I just brute forced the puzzle, because I'm just randomly rolling to what the creature changes to each turn, which is the correct answer, and it just happens to line up with all the buttons that you pushed. So you literally just brute force the puzzle. Now,
it's not like he cheated either, because he said what he was going to do before you rolled.
He did, which I respected. Yeah, because I was worried at first. I was like, okay, wait, how do I actually avoid metagaming here? Because I'm just announcing what it is, and you don't know the information. But you're like, no, this is what based on this. I was like, all right, that makes sense.
Based on what I saw.
Based on what you saw, and then you declared it before. I was like, all right, that makes sense.
I think it worked out for me because both times it started snake and rat.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's a standard order, and I was getting
standard order snake rat.
Huh? What's that?
The standard order snake rat.
Right. No, that's remember when you're telling us right when we walked in, you're like, oh, it's a snake.
I did, yeah, that's true. I did. I had it written down in my notes that it was a certain, just so I wouldn't have to sit there and be like, oh, it turns into this and this. I was kind of had it written down. We lost Chris again, by the way. a much better frozen image. Yeah, it is hitting him fast and furious.
I was so confused. I was like, I know you said owl, and so it didn't work. So I was like, all right, let me just flip it, and it just worked out that again, snake and rat were the first two.
I mean, I suppose it's not impossible to brute force. There's only 4 possible buttons, and they can't repeat. So there's not like an infinite number of solutions or anything.
But could the start have been different, though?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
I was just randomly determining each time. The whole idea is you're not supposed to ever be able to, like, sit there and like follow it, like write down what it's doing, because it's literally just random every time, including when the person starts pushing the buttons, then it flips to a random one every time. So the whole solution is somehow the person who sees the familiar transform needs to be able to communicate with the person pushing the buttons, is the idea. Or you just randomly luck out and push the right buttons, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
which it worked, so it's fine. I mean, we got through. The worst case scenario is everybody's stumped and they're like confused and not wanting to like interact with the puzzle in some way. So I'm okay with you brute forcing it or stumbling on the solution or even really treating it like, oh, this is really easy, we got it. Like, that's fine. To me, the only bad puzzle is one where just nobody has a clue. And it just becomes this bad experience of like, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do. That happened, I think, one time in our Tomb of Annihilation campaign, one of the shrines I remember, where everybody was just so confused and so lost. And I think we just had to start making like intelligence checks or something to try to figure it out. And then you hilariously pissed off the creature inside, which I did read. I don't know how much. I don't want to get into metagaming about what the spell is affecting this creature, but I did make sure to read about how it works and the fact that it can interact with things outside of it's not like a dome or a force field or anything. It's just somehow it's preventing it from leaving, but it doesn't prevent it from actually like reaching across and interacting with things physically. But you didn't know that, which I loved.
Oh yeah, that's me testing it out. I'm like, all right, is this like a force fuel? Will everything just evaporate as it goes through?
Yep.
I don't know why it exploded though. I don't know if you can tell me that, but because you said the ink bottle exploded.
Well, it hit him. Like I just figured that's what it would do. Like a glass ink bottle.
Explosion.
Oh no, I guess I overplayed it.
You just mean the bottle broke and he got ink on him. That's what you meant.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it went in and
it exploded on the... No, I'm sorry. No, that's not what I meant. I meant like it hit him. Like it went through and hit his body and then like exploded over his body and got ink on him and then he thought that was an attack.
No, that's what I thought too. I was like, oh my gosh, this ink bottle exploded as it went through and now he's pissed because he got hit with a bomb, essentially.
Right, yeah. No. That was just the fact that, and it was supposed to clue you to the fact that physical things can pass through the barrier, and then it was if you were throwing like a bomb at him, and he was like responding with an attack force.
Really cool. I'm curious what Chris thought when he gets back.
Yeah.
But yeah, that helps. I thought it magically turned into a bomb. But yeah, I'll find out next time how far he can reach.
Yes, it's a funny situation because normally being trapped in an area is a death sentence for a creature, but you are literally in a very tiny tower that is like, 10 feet, 15 feet across, so depending on its reach, you're not in a great shape. Although there are doors around, and I did mention the fact that and there is a door to your right, by the way, that nobody entered.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still another door to be had.
Yeah, he's got a spear, so he's probably got a 10-foot reach, so there's nowhere to hide. My guess.
That is a good guess. I did mention the spear. Chris mentioned the fact that he's not coming back this time, and I think we have just about exhausted this session's worth of material. We made a lot more progress than we did the last 2 sessions, so I'm pretty pleased about that. But as Reese was saying earlier before we got on, it's still hard for me to tell how many more sessions we have. I mean, I've already said we have 8 towers. This one is the second one. Baelish and Nas will do some of them, but clearly you guys have some more to do, and then obviously all those extra little places could be more things as well. So,
all right, I think I have one more question then.
Yes, go ahead.
Did you intentionally plant that 1000 GP ruby?
Oh, that's a good question.
Part of the story.
I actually... Well, I'd have to go back and look at I don't have the book pulled up.
That's exactly what Chris needs.
It is. I probably did change it. So I think what happened is it is full of various treasures, and I probably replaced or modified some of the treasure with the ruby. That would be very good, just coincidence if it was in there. I know I added the scrolls, the spell scrolls. The Serpentine Owl was, I believe, there already, but I think I did add the ruby. Yeah, I usually try to pay attention with that stuff, and I try to add loot that you guys would care about and modify things from there. So, yeah, right. That is a good question. And yeah, it's funny that he was begging for that fucking ruby twice over, and I was like, "It's patience, Yako, patience."
Good things. You remembered that it was in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I didn't know you guys were gonna go there. I just knew I put it in. It's in Ithrin somewhere, but I had no way of knowing you guys were gonna go here next. I had a pretty good idea because. It's probably going to be You know, it was the closest tower, so I figured you'd be there pretty soon. But technically, I didn't know you would be there, like this session, for example.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that will do it for this week's Frostside chat. Thank you to Chris, who's somehow still able to watch the chat, even though he's not able to get back in here. And Raymond, and thank you to all the wonderful fans for watching, and we will see you next week.
Bye.